Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Regis Prograis. If you let the fans tell it, Regis Prograis was robbed. Now please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now listen to me, listen. This is the part about creating content that I really don't like doing, because I don't like being disrespectful. But for those of you who think Regis Prograis was robbed, to that I say, in the most respectful way, that I kindly request that you hold your horses and stop taking it to the stupid. And I want to make sure I say that emphatically, right? Listen, man, Regis Prograis lost last night. But there are some people who say, look, he was robbed. And I'm sure you know the direction I'm going with this conversation. They're saying that Regis Prograis never stood a chance because Devin Haney was on the cocktail. Now listen. This whole thing that I've been talking about for over a year with the Mimo Heredias, the Alex Arizas, the Usman Sajads, the Victor Contis, right? That's a serious conversation. And what I'll say is this. I do think, and I'll say this, it doesn't matter who I talk to, I'll always say this. I think when a fighter has a pharmaceutical genius in their corner, right? I think they always have an advantage when they enter a fight. But the thing is, with guys like Devin Haney, David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, Demetrius Andrade, even what's going on out there in the UK with Usman Sajad working with Tyson Fury and other fighters, right? And Tommy Fury. Listen, it's no secret that their services have been hired by a lot of fighters. And when you're a fighter and you know you're going up against an opponent that has that pharmaceutical genius in his corner, it's your job to make sure that you even the playing field. Now, this is the problem that happened with Regis Prograis, okay? It's very simple, very simple. When you sit here and you lay it all out, there's only one conclusion, one logical conclusion that one could have arrived at, is that Devin Haney would have beat him. When you look at the age, who's younger? Devin Haney's younger by, I believe, 9 years. When did they start boxing? Devin Haney started boxing before he was even 10 years old. He was 6 or 7. Regis started boxing, he said 16, 17. I heard him one day said 18. So I don't even think he knows when he started boxing, but it seems, let's just say 17. Regis started boxing. Let's say Devin started at 7 and Regis at 17. That's 10 years of experience that you don't have. That's 10 years of muscle memory that hasn't been developed, and you can't possibly achieve that, okay? So there's a huge gap there experience-wise. High-profile, big fights. Devin Haney has the experience. Speed. Kind of get at the Devin Haney. Power. We thought it was Regis. But now we realize that, hey, Regis' power didn't show up because why? Devin Haney, reach-wise, who had the advantage? Devin Haney. Jab, educated jab, Devin Haney. Educated feet, Devin Haney. So when you look at it, Regis Prograis, on paper, should have lost that fight. When you look at the last fight that Devin Haney had against an amazing fighter, Vasily Lomachenko, Devin Haney was able to outwork him, to outfight him in most of the fight, and to get a victory. And he didn't necessarily try to stay behind his jab and fight long and tall. He actually, got small in some instances and stayed in the pocket and scrapped. That's because he felt he was bigger and stronger than Lomachenko. You look at Regis Prograis' last fight. He fought against a guy who just would not punch and was tall and long. And when Regis had to initiate the action, that's where the guy would react. And Regis was getting touched, and he was lost in that fight. Went to his corner, was asking, okay, what do I do? So Regis walked into a very similar style, but the problem is with Devin Haney's more active. Devin Haney's moved up in weight, and Devin Haney was feeling strong and feeling good. But when you look at all of that, you can exclude the Conti cocktail. And when I say the cocktail, it doesn't mean it's illegal, right? It just, Victor Conte knows the supplementation strategy. He knows how to approach planning preparation for a fighter to make sure they perform at an optimal level. And supplementation is part of that. So when you take all of that into consideration and the Conte cocktail, and you look at Regis Prograis, there was no chance in hell for him to win unless Devin Haney threw all of his discipline out the window and just stood in front of Regis Prograis and gave Regis Prograis a chance to land something big like Linares did on Devin Haney, like Jojo Diaz did on Devin Haney. So was Regis Prograis robbed? No. You know what happened? You know what's happening to Regis Prograis? What's happening to Regis Prograis is what should be happening to all these fucking fighters. And I don't really cuss on my videos, but I'm gonna go ahead and cuss, so fuck it. What's happening to Regis Prograis is what should be happening to all these fucking fighters once they get 32, 33 years old. You're not supposed to be getting bigger, faster, stronger as you get older. That's not Hood Champion's opinion. Who you know, right? How many fighters you know? As they get older, they're getting faster. They're getting stronger. More muscle definition. Punch resistance is better. Their cardio, their endurance is out of this world. As you get older, I'm 48. 25 years in the military. I boxed. I lifted weights. I ran marathons. I played basketball. I played soccer. All up until my 30s, man. And let me tell you something. By like 32, all of a sudden, man, I wasn't rocking no 32, 34 waist jeans. I wore 32 by 32. Then it went to 34, 32. And next thing you know, and I'm like 33, all of a sudden, I got to really put that work in to stay in the 34, 32 pants. All of a sudden, I'm like, in a 36? What the hell's going on here? All of a sudden, my face, it ain't all chiseled and streamlined. A little bit of, mashed potato going on. But I had to work harder. And then it just got to a point to where it's like, things start hurting. And you go and you get the damn MRIs, get the x-rays, realize you got tears, you got arthritis, you got plantar fascia, bilateral this, bilateral that. All kind of shit going on with your body when you've lived an active lifestyle like I have. And I'm still active. Nothing like when I was younger, but I'm still active. So when I look at these boxers, and I didn't do nothing on the level of these dudes. But myself, like a lot of you, was at the gym. We sparred, we put work in, we had fights, we trained. I can only imagine a guy who's doing everything naturally, who's not getting the help of a pharmaceutical genius, right? To make his body, falsely perform. Because that shit ain't natural, right? I can only a guy who's just sitting there being natural, no supplements, no BS, maybe a multivitamin, and going up against these guys who are loaded with all these different chemicals. Now, remember, I'm not saying nothing's illegal. It's going to be hard. It's just like, my pops grew up in the Caribbean, right? And he as a young kid, from a young age, had to go out there and help my grandmother working on the land and mining animals and chopping bush, milking the goat, milking the cow. Worked very hard from a young age. Very, very hard. But he didn't have the strength of like what I had because I lifted a lot of weights. So my dad was never the kind of guy who would get under 300 pounds. Like I was hitting 385 for reps, right? My dad he didn't have that kind of strength. He had a different kind of strength. I call it farm strength. You know what I'm saying? His grip is just, everything was just crazy. You know what I mean? And I was like, we got like gorilla grip. As we got older, like 15, 16, we used to wrestle. And my dad would grab us, man. We couldn't get away. But it's a different muscles, different things that are trained in your body. When you grow up doing a lot of like hard work and manual labor, a good example is Francis Ngannou working in those coal mines, doing that shit from a young kid to an adult. It's a different types of muscles are working. It's a different type of strength that you have, right? So what I'm saying is, we're like Regis Prograis, he probably is naturally a strong guy, but without the help of a pharmaceutical genius, it's going to be hard for him to get there and match somebody like Devin Haney. When everything that Devin Haney does good naturally is outstanding, but now it gets enhanced, it gets elevated. But at the end of the day, people, Regis Prograis, natural, with the help of a pharmaceutical genius, I just think when you look at it on paper, you set aside all the cocktail talk, I just think Devin Haney would have beat him. Styles make fights. And I just think Devin Haney just has that style for a guy like Regis Prograis. It's just perfectly suited for him. For Devin to go in there and just, chicken peck him across 12 rounds, 10, 12 rounds, and get a victory. And if they were to fight again, I think it'd be the same thing. But for those of you who are here saying that Regis Prograis was robbed, look, I don't think that's fair to say. But I do think this is bringing up a good point about fighters who are going into fights naturally against fighters who have a very good supplementation program, who have a dietitian, who have a nutrition, who have the strength and conditioning coach. When you have all bases covered, that's going to give you a better chance of winning the fight. And Regis Prograis, to me, looked normal. He looked how a fighter's supposed to look as they get older. You're not supposed to get stronger, you're not supposed to get bigger, you're not supposed to get faster. That's not normal. It's just like in baseball. Remember in baseball, Barry Bonds and all them damn, what's his name, the other one, Canseco, whatever, man, out there hitting home runs and all kind of craziness. Even Sammy Sosa is supposedly on the cocktail. He's a white man now, looking crazy. But what I'm saying is that's not supposed to happen. You don't just come out of nowhere and just start getting better as you get older. But that being said, for Regis Prograis, I have a lot of respect for him. But going forward, I think Regis Prograis' back is against the wall now, because at 140-pound division, even if he was to fight Rolly, I just think Rolly would knock him out. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Rolly would knock Regis Prograis out. If Devin Haney can hit him and make him dance salsa in the ring, Rolly Romero would probably knock him out. Subriel Matias, I think, would destroy Regis Prograis. If Regis Prograis was getting hurt by Devin Haney and his face swelling up and getting cut up by Devin Haney, Subriel Matias, who gets stronger and stronger as each round goes by, would destroy him. And you know what's interesting about the fact that I'm bringing up Subriel Matias' name is there are people out there saying that Subriel Matias may have loaded gloves. And I'm like, okay, hold your horses. They're like, well, Felix Tito Trinidad, word on the street was that Felix Trinidad was doing some foul stuff with his gloves. I do believe there's some truth to that, because multiple professional fighters have said it. Fernando Vargas, De La Hoya. There's a lot of fighters who talked about Felix Trinidad and how he got caught with some bogus raps and stuff like that. I do believe there was some foul play. But my thing is, if you can get away with some stuff, then whatever. But when you get pro fighters who come out and go on record and say that, then I don't get mad at the content creator for repeating it. Go out there and look at the video where the opponent was talking about the crap that was going on with some of these guys' gloves. Because to me, where there's smoke, there's fire. But for Subriel Matias, I have no reason to believe that there's foul play there. But what I'm getting at is, I'm gonna say that I don't think there is, but I mean anything's possible. But bottom line is, the way Subriel Matias is looking, if Regis Prograis was to go and fight him, I just can't see Regis beating him. Okay, even Ryan Garcia, I think Regis loses. I think he gets knocked out cold. I think Ryan Garcia's hands are too fast. He's too tall, too long, and Ryan Garcia with that left hand will come off so fast, and Regis Prograis keeps his right hand down. That's how Devin Haney caught him. Devin Haney threw the right hand. His right hand didn't land on the left side. His right hand landed on the right side. That's something y'all got to pay attention. Watch how Devin Haney threw that right hand. That caught Regis. He waited for him to drop his right hand, and Devin Haney threw the lead right. There's nothing Regis could have done about that shot. I watched it today about 5 times. I'm like, how did he get knocked down? Devin Haney just timed him. So that being said, we'll see what's next for old Regis. But as far as him getting robbed, I don't know about that one. Okay? But what I will say is, Regis Prograis looked the way a fighter's supposed to look, who's getting into 33, 34, 35 age range. You know what I'm saying? He looked the way they're supposed to look. When you see these fighters, 38, 39, 40, getting bigger, stronger, faster, that's not natural. There may be a couple freaks out there, some aliens out there, who just get better and just, genetics and hard work and dedication and clean life, who can kind of extend their boxing career into their 40s. So I'm not saying it's impossible. But what I'm telling you is, majority of fighters, and when you go and look at, read the articles and read the studies that were done that say they noticed a natural decline in a fighter's performance. It's probably around that age, 32, 33, 31 to 33. That's when they kind of have peaked and start to see them on the downside. 35, 36, by then career should be over. So I think that's the direction Regis is going. So that shows me it's a natural progression. So I got to commend him for that. But if Regis Prograis comes back in his next fight and knocks somebody out cold with one punch, we may have to start asking questions, because that means somebody's out there got their hands on the secret sauce. And then, then we need to have a conversation. That being said, y'all keep cool. Quit taking it to the stupid. Regis Prograis lost because Devin Haney, just on paper, he's just better than him in all areas. All right? In the breeze.